This conference will now be recorded.
Right? The code which is present in package 1, I cannot use in package 2 without import. If you want to use the code, package 1 code, you have to import it. How to import it? Using a special keyword called import package name, right? So you can use like this, import package name directly. This is the importing of particular class. If I want to import a class, you have to import like this, import keyword package name dot class name, right? Or else if you want to import entire package, import package name dot star. Nothing but I want to access entire package. This is some sort of security. If you want to improve your security for your classes, for your code, you have to apply these access specifiers for your classes and your members. We can apply public, private, protected, and default. These are the access specifier we can apply for either class level or member level. What is member team? Member nothing but my variables and my methods. So we have a 4 access specifier: public, private, protected, default. And public we can apply for class level and member level. If I mark as my members as a public, I can access in within a class, right? And within other class which is present in same package, in other package and child class, right? So let me show this one. See, private access specifier. So I cannot make my class as a private, and I can make my members as a private. If I make my members as a private, I can access only within the class. Outside of the class, not possible. Right, team? And now protected. So if I make my members as a protected, I cannot access, and anyway, I cannot make my class as a protected as well. Even I can apply protected for my members, either variable or methods. If my members, my variables or methods are protected, I can access within a class and within a package and child classes. I cannot access other package even though if I import the class, that particular package. And now default. There is no keyword called default in Java. Anyway, before that we don't have a default keyword. Now recently people have added default keyword. So if you not give any keyword, if you not give any access specifier, the program will consider as default access specifier. Clear, team? And we can make default classes and we can make default members. If I make my members as a default, I can access in within a class, within a package, and outside of the package not possible. Even child classes also not possible. Clear, team? Hope you're clear, right? Please let me know if you have any doubts. Otherwise, I'll proceed. So try to observe this sheet, team. So highest accessibility. What is the highest accessibility? This is one, public one. This is one having the highest accessibility, right? So this is the one highest accessibility, public members. Public members having the highest accessibility, and lowest accessibility for what? Lowest accessibility is private member. I cannot access private member outside of the class. If you want to access anywhere in the project, make it as a public, right? If you want to access in only package level, go for a default, and don't give any access specifier. That is considered as default. Clear, team? Protected. If you want to access only inside the package and child classes, go for a protected. Clear? And now see, Java is, up to now we're discussing about Java program, right? See, Java is an object oriented programming language. Yes or no? Not only Java, all high level programming languages are object oriented. What is the object oriented, team? So people are calling OOPS, OOPS. OOPS nothing but object oriented programming system. So what is OOPS? OOPS is nothing but it's a process. So nothing but by the time of writing your code, you have to follow some rules and regulations. This is not from Java. This is from OOPS, Object Oriented Programming System. So our language, Java language, is one of the object oriented programming language. If any language has to follow, if any language said to be an object oriented, that must be follow these features. What are the features, team? The first one is class, and second one is object, and third one is inheritance, and fourth one is class, object, inheritance, polymorphism. And data abstraction. And sixth one is encapsulation. So we'll discuss one by one. So what is OOPS, team? OOPS nothing but it's an object oriented programming system. Nothing but it's a process. So if you follow this process, why we have to follow this process? If you follow this process, you will get some advantages. What are the advantages you will get? So we will get advantages of first one, code reusability. We can reuse the code reusability. And next, code optimization, and less memory allocation. So OOPS nothing but it's a process. So object oriented programming system. Java is one of the object oriented programming languages. So if any language said to be object oriented, it must follow these features. What are the features? Class, object, inheritance, encapsulation, polymorphism, and data abstraction. Now, why we have to follow? So if you follow this process, you will get some advantages. What are the advantages? So you can reuse your code. Nothing but if you write a code, you can use multiple times. That is nothing but code reusability. And next, code optimization. Nothing but you can optimize the code. You can optimize the number of lines of code. Suppose if you write 100 lines of code, by following these features, that may decrease to 10 lines. So getting what I'm trying to say? Code optimization in the sense we can decrease the length of the code and less memory allocation. We can execute a large code by allocating a less memory. So these are the advantages if you follow object oriented programming. Now, what is the class, team? This is one of the OOPS concepts. What is the class? Already we discussed, team. Right? See, class nothing but it's a template. Yes or no? Simply I can say it's a template. So if you want to write anything, if you want to write any code, that must be inside a class. Yes or no? Yes or no, team? So if you want to write anything, that must be inside a class. Other than class, is that possible to write a code? No, right? First of all, if you want to write anything, that should be inside a class. Right? It's a template. And the only one and only one thing we can create object in entire the Java is only one, that is the class. We can create object for only class. Other than class we cannot create, right? So how to create object? Already we know the syntax. Class name, object name is equal to new constructor, right? And in the class, so we can maintain variables, we can maintain variables, comma methods, comma constructors, comma blocks, right? These are what main class. And next one, what is the next one? Object. What is the object, team? What is an object? And the definition of object, people are saying it's a blueprint of class. Nothing but, see, it is all the properties of a class is captured by, it's holded by an object. In general, in Java language, so anything is considering as an object. See, in general, let me open my paint. So in general, it's in general in Java, anything is said to be an object. It must follow object in general in general environment. See, one object nothing but it must have a physical properties. It must have some height, some width, some color, and that is said to be an object. Suppose laptop is an object, mobile is an object, I am an object, you are an object. In general, in Java, anything is considering an object which is having the physical entity, which is having the physical height, which is having physical weight, which is having physical width. Everything in this world is considering an object, right? See, let it be considered and let me take one package here, new package. My class name is human. So package name, right? As of now, let me take test, com.test. Now let me create a class here. My class name is human, or I can say outer. See here, in outer class, if I want to create object, I have to create object, and every object having the object properties and object functionalities, right? Let's suppose I'm an object, right? So what are my functionalities and what are my properties? If I am an object, see, I can say like this. My properties are, let me document here. If I'm saying I'm an object, see, I'm having my properties and I'm having my functions, nothing but behaviors. I can say behaviors. What are my properties? See, my height, comma, color, comma, name, comma, mobile number, and address. These are all my properties. And what are my function here? My functions are eating, right? Teaching, sleeping. These are my major functions, team. Okay. These are my properties and these are my functions. You can identify me by using my properties and my functions, right? See here, like this, if I want to convert an object, if I want to create an object, I have to create like this. So every object having its own properties and every object having its own functions, right? See here. So if I want to create an object, I have to create an object like this. First of all, let me have a main method. See here. See here. If I want to create an object, I have to create an object. How to create? Outer object name. Here you have to take a physical entity. Here one of the outer name is David equals to new outer. Clear, team? Now David have some properties, David have some functions. See here. Now let me give some properties for David. Int age of David. What is the int age of David? 25. Now next, let me give string city of David. Here let me give city of David. Within the double quotes, let me give here the David city is Hyderabad. Now David properties are, one is age and second one is city. You can give pin code and etc etc etc. Now some of the functions for David, right? So let me give some functions. Public void David function is, what is his function? He can vote, right? See system.println vote. If you want pass, you can pass, right? And let me give for understanding purpose one more key thing here. String name here. So what is the name? You can give any name, or else let me comment out this one. So like this, you can give n number of properties, n number of functions. So if you want to access these properties, if you want to access these functions, how to access team? David dot properties age here, like this. Anyway, it's getting error. I have to store it. As of now, I don't want to store it. Simply, I can print it. System.println. Now let me print David age. Now, the next thing, David city. Let me print. I can access with object dot city. And next, I can call this vote function, right? Either I can directly access or I can access with object name. Now I want to access with object name David dot vote. Like this, you can access class properties and class functions with object. Clear, team? 25 age, HYD, OT. See, object is nothing but it is a blueprint of a class. In Java, which is having the physical entity, which is having some width, some height, some weight, that is considering as one object. Right? In general, that is considering an object. Right? So every object having its own properties, its own behaviors, nothing but functions. So these functions and properties we can access with object name. Clear, team? And now already we know what is inheritance. What is inheritance, team? What is inheritance? Inheritance nothing but an object acquiring properties of one object acquiring properties of another object. Right? So already we discussed him. Inheritance and inheritance types. Right? What are the inheritance type, team? You can send me in message. Inheritance types. Inheritance types. Yeah, okay. So we have a different types of inheritance, single level inheritance, right? So multi-level inheritance, multiple, hybrid, hierarchy, right? So multiple inheritance not possible. Why? Multiple inheritance not possible. Why? Because of the problem. What is that problem? It's very, very important, team. So definitely in interview you will face this question. Ambiguity problem, right? So multiple inheritance is not possible in Java. That is because of ambiguity problem. Whenever your two parent class having the same property, So by the time of execution, program may get confused which property has to be accessed. That's why people are removed the entire concept. Okay. Next, inheritance. Inheritance, one object acquiring the properties of another object. So we can make two types of inheritance. What is the two types? Team? Anyone? We can make it as class to class, interface to interface, how to make within class to class team. What is the keyword we are using? Extends, right? So we can make relation between two classes by using the keyword called extends, and we can make relation between two interfaces, interface to interface, like same keyword called extends, right? And moreover, we can make relation between class to interface by using a keyword called, what is the keyword team? Implements. That is about inheritance. And now polymorphism. What is a polymorphism team? Poly in the sense many, right? So already we discussed in each and every concept. You have to remember poly in the sense many, one in different forms, one in many forms. See, polymorphism is of in Java two types: runtime polymorphism, compile time polymorphism. So first one is compile time. What is the compile time? What is the best example for compile time polymorphism? What is the best example for compile time polymorphism?
Overloading.
Exactly. So method overloading. So what is the definition for method overloading?
Method with different method signatures. Same method, different method signature.
We should not say signature, ma'am. See, method with same name differentiated by parameter. That too where within the class, within the same class. Method with same name differentiated by parameters or number of parameters within the same class. Same class you have to highlight it here. If the two methods are in different classes, we should not say it's a method overloading. Always you have to highlight methods having with same name differentiated by parameters or number of parameters within the same class. You have to highlight here same class. Okay, that is compile time polymorphism. That is the best example for compile time polymorphism is method overloading. And now the second one is method runtime polymorphism. What is the best example for runtime polymorphism? It's a
Method
method
overriding.
overriding, right? So what is mean by method overriding team? Method with same name in two relationship classes. Here you have to highlight two classes, two relationship classes. Clear? So within the same class we are calling as method overloading. Relationship class we are calling as method overriding. Always you have to highlight where it is happening. If it is method overloading happening in single class, method overriding happening in two classes, that two are in relationship. Clear team? And inheritance it is also calling as easy relationship. There is no difference between inheritance and easy relationship. So the two classes or two interfaces or class and interface having the relation between this one by using extend keyword or implements keyword. Clear team? And now come to data abstraction. Already we have discussed data abstraction. Anyone remember? See here, data abstraction nothing but hiding the functionality. Where we are hiding the functionality team? See, we already discussed about abstract keyword. What is the use of abstract keyword team? Whenever you say we can apply this abstract keyword for a method. So whenever you apply abstract keyword for a method, your class becoming as an abstract class. Yes or no? Whenever your class becoming as abstract, you cannot create object for that class. And one more thing here, the one is important. See, we can implement this hiding. We can implement hiding by using this, by using which one? Interface. How? So if you take a method, by default in interface, the methods are default, the interface in interface methods are public, abstract, nothing but public, abstract, nothing but you're not able to implement that method, you're not able to give method body inside interface. Then how? Then you can ask question here, how we are hiding here. Then see, if I take an interface with few functions, then who is responsible for implementing that methods? Who is the responsible team? See, let's say I'm taking one method here, the bank method. This is a class. Sorry, let's say it's an interface bank, right? See here in this interface bank. So can I take methods like this? Public void withdraw. Can I take like this? Logic. Can I take like this, team? In interface? Say yes or no. That's it. Just ping me. If you're not able to say, just ping me. In interface, can I take like this? Bhargavi garu, Rajeshwari, Jyoti. Can I take one method in interface like this? Yes or no? Exactly. Why team? In interface, whether you mention or not mention, so by default here there will be a keyword called abstract. Here you have to give the keyword here is abstract. There will be a hidden keyword here, abstract. Whether you mention or not mention, this is an abstract method. Whenever this is an abstract method, whenever this is acting as abstract method, you are not allowed to use this method body. Always your methods are abstract methods, nothing but your methods without method body. Then who is responsible to implement this method? Obviously, you have to take one implementation class from your interface. So that is responsible to implement your interface methods. See, whenever I say like this, see my bank name is SBI. I can say like this, class SBI implements interface. What is my interface? Bank here. See, whenever I say like this, automatically this method public void withdraw method coming with method body. Yes or no? Already we have seen example. Remember, see public void withdraw. So you will get this method like this, withdraw method with method body. Now you have to give the implementation here. Yes or no? See, if I want to execute this method withdraw method, how to execute? Here you can take in this same class, you can take main method. Inside main method, you have to create an object for this class. How to create object? How to create object, team? So you can create an object in two ways. First one is cell class reference, SBI ATM, my object name equals to new SBI. Now, if I call like this ATM dot withdraw, from which class it will execute, team? It will execute from interface or class? Come on, team, quickly. Now, what is the output? If this method execute, from where it will execute, whether from interface or class? Class, exactly. I don't know why you are not responding here, team. See, if I'm creating object, for which one I am able to create object, interface or class? Blindly you can say here, I am creating object for SBI. Now method will execute from SBI, right? So how to create object, team? Class name, object name is the new class name or constructor name. So always method execution depends upon runtime object. Here, what is my runtime object? SBI class. Here we have only one interface, one class. Obviously, I'm creating object for class only. If I'm creating object for a class, obviously the execution depend upon runtime object. What is the runtime object here? Runtime object is my SBI class. Here, this is self class reference. Here, can I take like this? Bank equals to new SBI. Yes or no? Here I'm creating object for a SBI class with parent interface reference. If I'm creating like this, see, whenever, just observe the, whenever you go to the ATM, just you can see the withdraw function, but you don't know the hidden functionality. You don't know the code the developer written, and you don't need the code. Just you want to withdraw money. Just you went for the ATM. Now you are able to see the functionality. What is the functionality? Withdraw functionality. That is nothing but one interface functionality. Here, what I'm trying to say here, see, always any project starting from the interface. Here, data abstraction, nothing but people will take the interface, whatever you're able to see on a screen, that is nothing but that is from interfaces, not from the classes. Nothing but here I can see the withdraw method, but I'm not able to see the withdraw method functionality, withdraw method hidden code, withdraw method developed code. Anyway, I don't need it. Yes or no? That is the actual use of abstraction. The abstraction we can implement by using a keyword called abstract. Whenever you take a method inside an interface, and obviously that is an abstract method. Abstract method we cannot give the implementation. Then who is responsible for give the implementation? Relationship classes, nothing but implementation classes. Here in my example, bank is an interface and SBI class is an implementation class of bank interface. I'm going to implement the abstract methods of bank. Clear, team? That is about the data abstraction. And coming to the encapsulation. Encapsulation nothing but it is very important, team. So definitely it's on the interview question. So from this one only you will get at least minimum 5 to 10 interview questions. If you go any interview, you will get 5 to 10 interview questions from this concept only, these OOPS concepts. Already we have covered each and every concept here, but you need to know the definition. That's it. Already we know what is the class. Already we know what is the object. Already we have discussed more than 2 to 3 days inheritance and polymorphism and data abstraction. Already we discussed data abstraction, but you don't know what that is a data abstraction. So how to implement data abstraction? By using a keyword called abstract. You are taking an interface, nothing but it's an abstraction, data abstraction. Clear? And encapsulation. Encapsulation nothing but wrapping up the data into a single unit. Nothing but here the single unit nothing but here the single unit nothing but it's a class. So we can bind data into a single class. How? So let me give you an example. See here. See here. If I am taking class here, let me give class name. What is my class name? My class name is encapsulation test. See here, encapsulation demo. Can I take like this int a equals? Can I take like this int a equals to 100? Nothing great. See here, I don't want to initialize my variable num here. Now, tell me here for understand purpose, I can say age. I can say outer age, or else we can give outer string outer string city here. Now I have a two variables without initialization. Can I apply a private variable to my this private access specifier file my variables? Can I apply private here? Yes or no? Can I apply a private access specifier for these variables? Yes, right? See, that is what we discussed morning. We can apply all access specifier to our variables, whether it may be public, private, protected, default. Now let me apply. What is that? Private. What happen if I apply a private to my variables? What is the use team? Anyone? What is the use if I apply a private access specifier for my variable? Exactly, ma'am. Very good. Very good, Bhargavi. So we can access only within the class. If you want to access the variables only inside the class, make it as a private. So when I make it as a private, observe team, when I make it as a private, I'm not able to access outside of the class. See here, let me create one more class. My class name is test. See here. Now from this test class, I want to access this age variable, city variable. How? Observe here. Main method, and create object for this class. Go to the test and class name, object name equals to new class name. If I am trying to access observe team, so I can access with if general, in general I can access object dot either age or object dot either name. But here observe here getting error. Why? Because observe here, change the visibility of age, change the visibility of name, because those variables are marked as a private. Already we know variables which are having the private access space where we are not allowing to access outside of the class, because it is limited to class only. For that, even though I want to access this access specifiers, for that, so here I don't want to change the security, but I want to access these variables outside of the class. What is the purpose of making private? Because these variables are accessed inside a class. But anyway, I observe thing. Anyway, I want to access these variables outside of the class, but I don't want to change the specifiers. If I change the specifier, now the security will be miss. Anyway, I can make it as a public. So if I make it as a public, I can access in anywhere, not other than this class. other class. I can access anywhere. Here, I don't want to change the property. I don't want to change the access specifier. I want to access in another class. That is possible with the help of encapsulation. Encapsulation is a process we can access private variables in another classes. Private variables of a class in another classes by using a public methods. So those methods we are calling as setters and getters. Setters and getters. See, by using setters and getters method, methods, we can access the private members in other class. How team? Observe team. You don't need to implement methods for these private variables. Observe, directly you will get a methods. Observe team. Here, what are the variables you are having? Just here inside a class, right click, you will get here source, right? Go to the source and here you will get an option generate getters and setters. Let me repeat it. So first of all, make private variables and right click in a class. You will get a source option. Under source option, you will get a generate getters and setters. Now click on generate getters and setters. What is the source generate getters and setters? See here, it is asking me to for which variable you want to generate getters and setters. First, let me click my first one, only one. As of now, I'm clicking only one. Now let me click age. Now I'm getting two methods, right? So what is the two methods? For my age variable, age private variable, I'm getting one get method, I'm getting one set method. See here, by using this get method, I can get the value. What is the method returning here? My method returning, get method returning age variable. What is the set here? See, set is accepting one parameter. What is that parameter? Age parameter. That age parameter receiving here, again by using this keyword. See, again we are getting this keyword. By using this keyword, we can apply the variable, the value, whatever getting here, we can apply to this variable. Now, see here. So from this object, I can set age here. Observe him. First of all, I am setting age. So it is accepting parameter. Now let me set age. Now, if I set age here, it will go to this method. I am getting error here. See, it is go to this method and 25 comes to here. Again, 25 comes to here and 25 storing to here. This is used to store this variable value into global variable. This is global variable, right? I want to store it in here. Now it will comes to here. Now your age variable set by another class. Yes or no? Another class by using set age method. That is the use of setters method. By using setters method, you can set the value of a private variables from other classes. Now, what is the use of get method? Now go here. Now you can get the value whatever you have set it recently. Now here you can get age. Here, what is the returning team? It is returning integer. Now go to this method, control click. Now I am calling the get method after set method. By using set method, I have set the value of age from another class. What is the value I'm passing over there? 25 coming to here 25. Now it is storing here and again storing here. And by using this dot age, I'm storing the value into here. Now my age value is 25 here. Now I'm using get value. Now it will, what is returning here? It is returning this age value. What is the return type here? Int. Now it is returning this age integer. Observe team, if you want to get this one for understanding purpose, let me give system.out.println. Now let me directly print it, or else you can store it into another variable. I'm storing into getting age, this one. Observing. See, I'm setting the value of 25. What is the value here? I'm setting age value. It is going to the class and updating the private variable age, and again I'm getting the variable age value from get method. Now let me print it here. Getting team? Simply I am passing parameter. So what are the parameter I am passing? That is getting by using get method. That is the use of getters and setters. Like this, you can generate any number of getters and setters methods for your private variables, and even you can generate private variables for this one also. How? Go to source, generate getters and setters. Now this time select city. Now you will get set city and get city. So if you want to access, now again you can set city name. Now this time set city name object dot set city, right? So what is set city is accepting team? What is set city accepting? Go to there. So set city is accepting string city. Here you have to pass string here HYD. And now after setting, so HYD comes to here, again comes to here. This is a local variable. If you want to update a local variable to global variable, you have to use this keyword. See, green color is global variable. See, this one is global variable and this one is local variable. For understanding purpose, let me take it here. See, this one is global variable. This one is local variable. So what are the value coming from the another class? I'm updating to my global variable by using this dot. Earlier we have used one more time this where team. Already we have come across this keyword once, where by the time of constructor calls, if you want to execute a number of constructor by creating a single object, you can use this constructor call. That is like this dot constructor call. If it is default, you have to use like this. That is also you have to use by the time of method starting. You should not use any line other than method starting. If it is a parameterized constructor, you have to pass like this. This is a constructor call, and this is this constructor call. This is this keyword. Clear team? So by the use of encapsulation, so we can achieve security for your class, right? First of all, make private variables, and next generate getters and setters. Observe team, no, there is no science team here. See, there is no science here. So setter value, we are setting the value. Getter value, we are getting the value. Right? So nothing but it is returning value. Whatever the variable value containing here, just by using a method, we are returning. How it is able to return here team? Because it is a public method. It is a public method. It can return the value. Anyway, I can access. This is a private variable, right? See, age is a private variable. I can access inside the class. Here I can access. Yes or no? Here I can access because this public method inside a class I can access. By using this method, I'm returning private variable here, private variable value. Yes or no? We are not violating security. We are getting the value of private numbers in another class. Getting what I am trying to say here? So what is the use of getters team? What is the use of setters? We can set the values from another class, right? So what is the use of getters? What is the use of getters team? We can get the private variable values, right? Why? Because these are public methods. Public methods with return type. Plating, that is the actual use of encapsulation. That is the object oriented programming system. Oops, object oriented programming system. It is a process. If you follow this process, you will get some advantages. What are the advantages? Code reusability, code optimization, less memory allocation. What are the main pillars for object oriented? So those are class, object, inheritance, encapsulation, polymorphism, and data abstraction. What is the class team? Class is a template. So we can create object for a classes, we can maintain the variables, and we can maintain the blocks, we can write the code. Object in general. So in this world, anything having the physical entity nothing but it's a shape, color, height, width, those we are considering as object. So if you want to make it into Java, so those we can create as an object for a class. This is nothing but it's a blueprint of a class. So every object having its own properties, every object having its own behaviors, nothing but functions. Properties considering as a variables, functions, behaviors, nothing but considering as a methods or functions. Clear? And inheritance. Inheritance is nothing but one object acquiring the properties of another object. So inheritance in Java, we are making class to class, between two classes, between two interfaces, between class to interface by using keywords called extends, by using keyword called implements, right? And polymorphism, poly in a sense many or number of forms, right? So polymorphism is of two types. So compile time polymorphism, runtime polymorphism. Best example for compile time polymorphism is method overloading. Method overloading, the definition is methods having with same name differentiated by parameters or number of parameters within a same class, within a single class. Remember team, this is the last word you have to highlight it here, within a single class. And runtime polymorphism, a best example is method overriding. Method overriding. So methods with same name presenting in two classes. Here you have to highlight it, two classes that two are in relationship. Methods of same name presenting in two relationship classes, or else interface and class. That is also we are calling as method overriding implementation over there. Next, data abstraction. Data abstraction we can achieve by using a keyword called abstraction. So whenever you use abstract keyword for a method, so obviously the class becoming as abstract class. So what is the full best example for fully abstract class? It's an interface. Interface, nothing but same like a class. That is a fully abstract class. Whenever you give a method inside an interface, that is considering as abstract method. So public abstract. Whether you mention or not mention, program is considering as abstract method. For abstract method, you cannot give the implementation. If you are not able to give the implementation inside interface, who is responsible to give the implementation for that method? In your child class, implementation class is responsible to implement the interface methods. Here you have to give the implementation, here you have to give the code. That is abstraction. So what is the use here? Here we are not highlighting the code, just we are highlighting the functionality. Here what is the use, team? Just we are highlighting the functionality. Clear? And encapsulation. Encapsulation, what is the use, team? So we can make, so we can wrapping up the data into single unit. So we can secure the data into single unit. Here the unit nothing but a class. So inside a class, if you want to make it your data into secure, make your variables as a private. So to access the data into outside of the class, make a private variables and public setters and getters method. By using setters method, you can set the values. By using getters method, you can get the values, because your getters and setters are the public methods, your variables are private variables. Clear, team? Please let me know if you have any doubts regarding OOPS concepts. Hope you are clear, right? Everyone? Barvir? Now, so let me summarize all the concept from first day onwards. So it won't take more than 10 minutes, right? See here. Java. So what is a Java, team? It's a high level programming language, right? So it's one of the high level programming language. So we can download the Java. So Java contain JDK, JDK contain JRE, JRE contain JVM, right? And we have to set the paths. How to verify? By JavaC version, right? So whenever you compile a Java class, you will get .class file. You have to save with the .java extension, right? So your file name .java extension. After compiling, you will get .class file, right? So you can either write your code in a text files or editors like Eclipse. We have editors like Eclipse, IntelliJ IDE. We have a different Eclipse editors. So most famous editors are Eclipse and IntelliJ IDE. So this one Eclipse is a open source, so you no need to pay single NP for this one, and IntelliJ IDE is paid version. Clear? And later we discuss about data type. What are the data type we have? Primitive data types and non-primitive data types. What are the primitive data types we are discussing? Byte, short, int, long, float, double. Why we are having these number of data types? Because every data type having its own range. So byte is -128 plus -128 plus 127 here. -128 to plus 127. Short is range is 32,768 to 32,767. So everything having its own range. Here the long is also having its own range. And for numerical data types, we have a float and double. So these are the integral. These are the integral data types. These are the numerical. These are integral. Float and double. If you want to give the point where numbers, you have to give like this. Float will accept after the 6 numbers. If you give like this, float number you will get like this. If you give 10.1234768 9 10, you will get the number, and program will consider after the dot it will give consider only 6 numbers, right? And for double, after the point it will consider more than 9 numbers, right? And boolean will accept only boolean condition, whether it may be true or false. And character will accept only one character, that too you have to give within the double quotes. String you have to give within the double quotes, right? And char you have to give within the single quotes. Remember team, it won't allow more than one character. If you want to give more than one character, and take a string. I expected everyone will ask a question here, but no one asked a question here. See, all the data types are starting with lowercase, but only string having the capital case, starting with capital case. Why? Anyone? Anyone? Why string is having capital case? Anyone? Why S is capital inside a string? Why this S is capital? See team. So if I want to take a string, I have to document like this. See, these are highlighted in purple color. This is not highlighting purple color. See, because see, observe here, java.long package. So string is coming from java.long package, and observe here, control click. String is a class. This is coming from Java JDK1. String is a class, inbuilt class in Java. If you want to document any string, you have to take like this. String is a class, that's why we are taking as first letter capital case. Already I told you by the time of nomenclature, if you want to give your class name, that should be start with capital case. String, yes, is a capital case because it's a class. Clear team? And now, so nomenclature, project name, class name, interface name, just start with capital case, and any subsequent word start with capital case only. Package name, all are small case, and that too reverse to your domain, com.amazon.login test cases like this. And variables name, object name, reference name, method name start with lowercase, any subsequent word start with uppercase. Now, and should not give duplicates, avoid special characters except numbers. If you want to give the number, if you want, you can give the number, but that should be end of your variable, that should be end of your method. And these are all Java keywords. Just go through these ones. All the Java keywords, mostly we'll discuss 80 to 90% of the keywords, right? Just go through these ones. We discuss each and every keyword. And local variables. Variables are the two types: local variables, global variables, and static variable. What is the local variable doing? If you define a variable inside a method, that is acting as a local variable. Local variable, if you define, that should be accessed only inside a method. Outside that particular method, not able to access, right? And the global variables, you can declare a variable outside of the method, that is acting as a global variable. Whenever you declare the global variable, you can access anywhere in the class, right? Static variables, static variable with a static keyword. You cannot declare local variable, static variable. You can declare global variable with a static keyword, right team? Method nothing but function. So if you want to write anything, that should be inside a method. So we have a predefined method and user defined method. What is the best example of predefined method team? It's a main method. In Java, we have a main method, that is a predefined method. So the execution starting from the main method. So whenever you execute a program, always JVM looking for the main method, because that is a starting point, because main method having inbuilt memory. If you want to create a memory, obviously you should have a memory. That memory where we are supplying here, memory is supplying from main method, right? And return type, what is the return type, team? So after executing your method, if you want to return anything, that is possible with return type. So whenever you want to return, that is used, that you can return with the help of a keyword called return. That return statement should be your end of your method. So you can return values, you can return any data type, and even you can return objects too. Here you can return objects too. Right, team? Just try this one. Try to create object, just try to return objects. Objects, or you can return references too. What is the difference between reference and object, team? What is the difference between return and object and reference? See, self-class reference, self-class object we are calling as object. So if you create object with parent class or parent interface, so that is we are calling as a reference. Remember this one. Okay. And then inheritance. Already we discussed number of times inheritance. So whenever you use a keyword called extends, so before the extend keyword is the child, and this is a parent class or superclass, child class or subclass, polymorphism. So already we discussed the polymorphism number of times. And next, object creation. So we can create object for any class any number of times, right? And overriding static keyword. So what is the use of static keyword, team? So static keyword you can apply for variables, static keyword you can apply for methods, even static keywords we can apply for a block. So if you want to access anything inside a static, that should be a static, because so whenever you create an object, so object will be created like this. How it will be created? So first of all, it will create a static block. Let's say I'm creating object for a class. Let's say I'm creating object for a class. First of all, it will create a static block and non-static block. If I create object for second time, it won't create a static block, it will create only non-static block. Third time, again non-static. See, the static block is only one time, and that too it is happening by the time of class loading, before your object creation, before your non-static variables, non-static method execution. That's why, so static is first step. That's why if you want to access anything, that should be static. If you want to access variables or method inside a static method, the variable or method should be static. Clear, team? And what do we discuss next? And the control statement. What are the control statement? We have selection statements and the looping statement. What are the selection statement we have discussed? So if condition, if you, and the condition boolean, if the condition is true, then enter into the block. If condition is false, and not enter into the block. And again we have a else block. Always else block is associated with if block. If condition is not executed, automatically else block will be going to execute. When this else block is going to be executed, if the if block is false, then this else block is going to execute. Next, if else. If else is also associated with if block. So if you want to check multiple condition, so go with else if ladder. And I don't recommend this else if ladder. Already we have a advanced condition statement, that is a switch condition. So always the condition you can take here, the condition you can take any data type. So your case has to match with your condition, right? So we discussed this statement, right? So whenever your case is matching with your your condition, so from there onwards, automatically all the cases are going to be executed. That is we are calling as fall through mechanism. What is the mechanism, team? That is fall through mechanism. To avoid this fall through mechanism, what we are doing this one? So we are using break statement, break keyword. If you use break keyword, whenever the condition is matches, whenever the case is matched from there onwards, and the remaining condition is going to be skipped, right? And then looping statement, for loop, right? So how to execute? If you want to execute a piece of code n number of times, if you want to execute a piece of code based on your number, so take the help of for loop. What is the syntax of for loop? For loop starting value, loop ending value, and these also we are calling as condition, loop increment or decrement. So you can take like this. My loop starting value is 1, loop ending value is 10. And again, I'm checking the condition. Every time the value is less than I value, less than 10 value or not. Next, while loop condition. I don't recommend while loop, right? And for each loop, we'll discuss team. After few classes, we'll discuss for each loops, right? And then abstract keyword, and already we know interfaces, right? So we'll discuss constructor. What is the constructor team? Same like a method. Constructor is not having the return type. So whenever your class does not having the at least one constructor, by the time of execution, program will going to create a constructor for you. That too, what constructor? Default constructor. Remember, program will going to create only default constructor but not parameter constructor. If your class having the parameter constructor or default constructor, by the time of execution, program will won't create a constructor. All right, and access specifiers: public, private, protected, default, and then oops concept. So that's what the Java team. So now the Java is completed. We are good to start with Selenium. Still, we have a few concepts I will discuss over the topic of Selenium. Right? Right, team?